Hmm, hmm. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Afrina Diva Sartika. So in this video, I will present chapters 1 until 3 of my thesis writing entitled Adat as Cultural Code, a Semantic Study of Minangkabau Proverbs. So the first one is the background of the research problem. Uh, the language reflects culture. The proverb or petata peti Minangkabau is a means of passing on customary values. The word adat appears frequently and has deep meaning. The meaning of adat in petata petiti is symbolic and contextual. Semantic studies are important to uncover hidden meanings. Previous research has not focused on the word adat as a cultural code. So language is more than communication. It carries cultural values. In Minangkabau, proverbs express these values, especially words adat. However, the meaning is often indirect and needs semantic analysis to uncover its cultural significance. Next is the identification of research problem. Adat is central to the social and spiritual order of Minangkabau society. Proverbs carry adat values symbolically, challenge like the meanings are not explicit, require deep interpretation, lack of focused semantic studies on adat in proverbs, and younger generation risk losing understanding due to lack of documentation. Adat plays a vital role in Minangkabau life, but its expression in language is often implicit. With limited semantic research on this, the study seeks to fill that gap and contribute to cultural preservation. Next is the limitation of the research problems. The limitation of this research is just only focus on proverbs containing the word adat, semantic approach, lexical and contextual meaning, and doesn't explore adat in legal or religious texts, and the data from written source and some oral tradition, if available. So the research is limited to the semantic study of adat in selected proverbs, not covering all cultural or legal contexts. Next is the formulation of the research problem. The first one is, what are the lexical and contextual meaning of the word adat in selected Minangkabau proverbs? And the second is, how does the word adat represent the cultural values and worldview of Minangkabau society? And the third one is, how does semantic analysis help in understanding adat as a cultural code in Minangkabau proverbs? So the purpose of this research is to analyze the lexical and contextual meaning of adat, to examine how adat reflects Minangkabau cultural values, and to explain the function of adat as a cultural code through semantic analysis. So the study aims to show that adat is more than a word. It's a symbol of Minangkabau identity and tradition. So the next is the significance of research. There are 2 points. The first one is theoretical significance that contributes to semantic studies in local language and culture, enhance understanding of how meaning is shaped by culture, useful for linguistic anthropology and interdisciplinary studies. And the next point is practical significance, increases awareness among younger generation of adat values, acts as an educational tool for preserving cultural identity, and useful for educators, cultural institution, and researcher. So the study has both academic and social value, especially in maintaining cultural continuity through language. So the last point in Chapter 1 is definition of key terms. There are adat, that's traditional custom, norms, and unwritten rules guiding Minangkabau life. In this study, analyzed specifically in proverbs. Next is cultural code, a system of symbol used to express and transmit shared cultural values. Here, adat is viewed as a cultural code. Next is semantic study, the analysis of meaning in language. This research used semantic theory to understand how adat gains meaning in context. The last point is Minangkabau proverbs or petata petiti, traditional Minangkabau expression full of wisdom and values, often used in ceremonies or daily speech. These containing adat are the main data search. So next to the chapter 2. So there are some points. The first one is semantic and meaning in language. Semantic is the study of meaning in language. It looks at how words, phrases, and sentences convey meaning, but in isolation and in context. Leach distinguishes between conceptual meaning, dictionary meaning, and associative meaning, the cultural or emotional association. This research focuses on lexical meaning and contextual meaning. And proverbs are rich in metaphor and culture. Understanding their meaning requires examining both word definition and cultural context. Next point is cultural code and language. A cultural code is an implicit system of meaning that reflects a community's worldview, values, and social rules. Language expresses and preserves ideology and identity through shared codes. Proverbs store and transmit cultural wisdom in a conscious and memorable way. And in Minangkabau culture, adat function as a key symbol of social structure, values, and identity. And the next point is adat in Minangkabau culture. Adat is the foundation of Minangkabau society and refers to customary laws and moral system. Based on the saying, adat basandi syara, syara basandi kitabullah, adat is linked to Islamic teachings. Adat governs family life, inheritance, leadership, conflict resolution, and rituals. Adat carries layered cultural meanings, making it ideal for a semantic study in proverbs. The next point is proverbs and semantic expression. Proverbs are short, well-known expressions conveying general truths and moral lessons. According to Narvik, proverbs rely on metaphor and cultural background, making their meanings deep and indirect. And understanding proverbs involve decoding both literal meanings and symbolic values rooted in shared culture. Semantic analysis helps uncover how proverbs reflect and transmit cultural meaning, especially through terms like adat. And the next point is previous study. The point one is many studies explore Minangkabau proverbs, but none focus specifically on adat as a cultural keyword from a semantic perspective. And the next, there are some research. The first one is studied metaphors in Babako wedding proverbs, rich in cultural values, but didn't focus on the term adat semantically. And the next research is expand about analyze semantic relation like synonymy and antonymy in proverbs, helpful structurally, but ignore deeper cultural meanings of terms like adat. And the next research is use semantic and semiotic analysis to reveal cultural values in proverbs, but treated adat only as background, not as a central concept. And the next research is by Fabreningsi, emphasize the educational use of proverbs in teaching character, valuable for pedagogy, but lack linguistic semantic analysis of adat. Hmm. So the last point on the chapter 2 is conceptual framework that, as you can see, guys, there are the lexical item of the word adat and the semantic analysis, and adat as a cultural code and cultural meaning construction. So next to the point is in chapter 3, this research is used qualitative, descriptive. So the data is the written data, perhaps collected from books, articles, and documented search that contain the word adat. And the next is oral data, perhaps an insight gathered from interviews with community leaders, elders, and cultural experts. And the purpose of oral data is to gain deeper contextual knowledge about how adat is understood and used in everyday Minangkabau life. So the next is the instrument of the research. So there are literature review, reviewing texts related to adat, proverbs, and semantic theory to build a strong theoretical foundation. And the next is interview, conversation with informants to explore their understanding of adat and its reflection in proverbs. And the next is observation, observing the use of proverbs in cultural practice such as ceremonies or communal discussion. So the technique of data collection is document study, extracting proverbs from books, archive, and digital database, and interview, semi-structured interviews with Minangkabau elders or cultural experts to validate meanings and usage. And the last one is note-taking, carefully documenting insight and contextual knowledge during interviews and observation. So the ensuring all participants give informed consent and their contribution are respectfully acknowledged. So the last point is technique of data analysis. The first point is identification, isolating proverbs that contain the word adat. And the next is lexical analysis, analyzing the literal meaning of adat based on niche semantic theory. And contextual analysis, interpreting cultural meaning based on how adat is used in traditional contexts. And next, interpretation is cultural code, analyzing how adat reflects Minangkabau ideology and social values. And next, thematic categorization, grouping proverbs into themes like leadership, morality, customary law, social roles. And the last is drawing conclusion, synthesizing findings to explain how adat function in proverbs and what it reveals about Minangkabau worldview. So I think that's all from me. Thank you guys for your attention. I'm sorry if there's mistake. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.